Hey there all, time to do another review. Now this time around we're going to do the latest from Opeth, which is in Cauda Venenum. If I get in the wrong pronunciation wise, I do apologise for that, so forgive me in advance. This one is 10 tracks for 68 minutes, the 13th studio album from the Swedish band, released September 2019 via Moderbolaget and Nuclear Blast, recorded at Park Studios in Sweden. 2 singles have been released so far, in Heart in Hand and Dignity. It's worth noting there are 2 versions of this album, one in English, the other in Swedish, and the title is Latin for Poison in the Tail. Now, I'm not the biggest aficionado of Opeth, I'm going to go on the record of saying that. This is one of my, I've got a long list of bands I'm going to get to at some stage, and I'm sure a lot of us out there have that list, and Opeth is on that list for me. So I get to listen to this at pretty much face value with not a lot of history attached. I have listened to some stuff before, but not enough to go and say, yeah, I know what to expect out of this band. So with that all said, I would really like to know what long-time fans of Opeth think of this record. So if you're a long-time fan and you listen to this, let us know what you think in the comments below. This one starts off in an interesting way. It's got a mood-setting sort of choral-based piece of music. Sets up the haunting vibe of this record really nicely. It's kind of a blend of Gregorian chant and the Stranger Things soundtrack if you watch that show. I'll see if you get what I mean on that one. After that little intro piece, though, it kicks into sort of a dark prog record. Puts me in mind of Ghost a little bit, but there's a lot more to it than that. Some very cool groove in this. It's not all technical, and there are hooks in this as well. I enjoyed Mikhail's voice on this, great melody used. The lyrics are well crafted as well. It's not a vocal-centric album because there's a lot of stuff going on here, but you can hear how the guitar and the vocals lead the composition on this record. Great performances across the board though on this. No one overplays their part. Everything fits the songs really well. Everyone gets their little time to shine and all be the focus point for you as the listener, but everything serves the songs, and that's done really well on this record. Heaps of different instruments and different tones have really fleshed this out nicely. Some great vocal harmonies on this as well, which really bring the drama to the record at the right times. The band are tight, yet they're playing with a lot of feel as well. It's a very interesting listen in that regard. Again, composition-wise, it's still interesting. No 2 songs are too alike on this one. Even though this is a long list and it's not too dragging overall, the songs have nice changes within them, and then you've got the changes between songs as well. But there's nothing too technical about those changes, and there's nothing too much of a hard turn. You don't have to be a theory snob to enjoy this music. In fact, far from it, I think. This is one of those ones that's technical yet extremely accessible. Lots to take in on this with repeat listens, some very nice use of ear candy. That's being done by things like layering the production and the writing parts of it. It all keeps it very engaging while you're listening to it. Production was a really interesting point on this one. It's really well done. Some great use of panning and Foley in particular. I loved how things are just off of center in the panning of this one. That was really cool. The attention to detail and lush tones really made this a joy for me to listen to. It's all fantastically blended as well. There's a fair bit going on musically with this at times, and as such sonically, but everything comes through nice and clear while still giving you a rich sound wall that still has depth and space. Nothing's too intense. It's got a really tasteful use of reverb across this one to really give it some life in the mix and not make it one of those, snap to grid, sound heavy, big dynamic walls that just punch you in the face. There's a lot in this. It's a 3D mix, really well done. The production had to be good with this one, with what's going on in it, and every tone is beautifully captured and presented. I love the focus across all the frequencies on there, which would not have been easy to do on balance, but they did it really well, and it adds to the listen for me. Sounds great on good speakers, so pump it through those. This is one of those albums though that's best served by taking in as a full experience. You've got to focus on this one. If you concentrate, it'll reward you. It's hard to pick sort of, your single standout moment or full tracks that, like, they've got a couple of singles, but it's hard to pick actual singles, if that makes sense. There's no sort of definite bangers on this one and then a few other fillers. This is just one of those ones you've got to take in the full experience of the listen. The flow is good, but also important on this record. It's important to how you take this one in. There are almost composed movements in this, which, along with the lyrics, give you a story in a listen, but without the constraints and restrictions of a concept album. So it's really good in that regard. It's a wide range of emotions for you to explore while listening to this record. It's got a journey peaks and troughs with the energy on it as well. It's busy and heavy without being aggressive, but it's also beautiful. Great listening order to it overall, really well thought out product. The slower moments are complemented by the more up-tempo beats. All that said, I think this might be a touch too long in the final analysis. It probably would have been better served as an album overall by cutting a song or two from this. Hard to tell which ones to cut, that's going to come down to taste. For me, Charlatan didn't bring a lot to this record, so that's one contender for the cutting room floor. Not a bad track, just superfluous to what this album needs. The Garrotta is probably another one that falls in that territory, and possibly Continuum. They're all not bad tracks, but in the context of this record, I thought they might have padded it out a bit too much. If you're a fan of things like Ghost, Evergrey, Pink Floyd, Flying Colours, and more like that, or 70s influenced progressive rock music, you're going to enjoy this one. It's prog, but it's not too prog. It's got more than enough access points for most people out there to find something to listen to in this. I think it's a good solid record, especially if you love production and music more on that progressive rock side of things. This is really good if you've got the attention span for it. If you don't have the attention span for it, you will struggle with this one though, so it's just worth noting that does tend to drag, especially toward the back third of the record. I found it for me. 8 out of 10. My standouts were Lovelorn, Crime, Dignity, Next of Kin, and All Things Will Pass. Love to know what you think of it out there, so let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Drink up, rock on. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, and also give us a thumbs up or subscribe or follow any of our social media channels to stay up to date with what's going on next. I want to say a very quick thank you to our sponsors, Alt Cult, Rockstar Finance, Hydra Rehearsal Studios, and Squinting Screen Printing. Thank you all so much for your support, and we will see you in the next video.